4:30, babe. Let's go.
Yeah. You want to, don't touch the button to phase that way. I'd be home. When, don't touch that button to fade really quick.
Beautiful. John.
Hey, Jen.
I'm here. On this side of the dirt, it's usually gets it.
Good evening, everyone. This is the regular monthly board meeting for the Tioga County Industrial Development Agency. It is Wednesday, August 4th, 2021 at 4:30 p.m. This meeting is hereby called to order. Christine, could you do a roll call, please?
Jen Ciccarelli?
Yes.
Mark Stabride? Yes. Kevin Gillette?
Yes.
Tracy Knapp?
Yes.
John Ward?
Yes.
Aaron Gown?
Here.
Eric Knowles?
Yes.
Thank you. This evening we have a special guest. Jason Bellis is here from Larson Design Group to talk about a couple subjects, and he now has privilege of the floor. Ta-da!
I was like a privilege of the floor today. I don't have a copy of the agenda. Do we want? I think I submitted a couple of things. One was wetland delineations.
Yep.
At the IDA's request, we submitted a proposal for wetland delineation at 2 properties
You'll pull it
up to the south of Owego Gardens 2. We provided 2 fees, one for each property, and my environmental specialist said, here's the fee for doing them both, because it would reduce the amount of mobilization to the site. So, there's not a lot more to.
Well, so just to let everybody know why we're talking about 2 separate parcels there is we went up, Christine and I went up and walked the site to the west of the remainder of the IDA East site owned by Tom Rizzuto. Tom is interested in selling that piece. That's when we walked it was pretty clear. It was pretty wet up in there. So because of what we ran into with the bottom of the east site, we thought it would probably be a good idea to, see what exactly we might be in for if we were to purchase the Rizzuto sites. We said, before we do anything else, let's have a wetland delineation done. We never did the delineation on the upper part of the east site when we were doing the Owego Gardens project. Fagan did the delineation on the village part only. So really we need to take a look at our piece and then Rizzuto's piece and see if then, what we have there and if it looks like something we're going to be able to develop or not. But because of what we ran into with the lower part of the east site, we thought probably a good idea before we go any further to take a look at what we've got there. And so Jason provided an estimate. I didn't know if you would want to just look at our side, if you want to look at both of them at the same time or what. So Jason broke it out into the 2 parcels so we can figure out what it is that we want to do.
Referring not our site, but the other site, wasn't that hilly and
It's
ravine and?
so it slopes like the slope of the road.
Okay.
It slopes.
Okay, but it's just one big slope, there's not a ravine
There's a
in
little
there?
wavy in there. Yeah.
Okay, because I remember walking up to there.
Yeah.
I did.
So the question is, what do you want to do? Do you want to have delineation done on it? If so, do you want to do just ours or do you want to do both of them? If you do
Just for clarification on just the IDAs, it's not the full tax parcel. All right.
Right.
There was like a little triangle piece that we did not include, so it's based on this. It's almost the same size as the other one.
Right.
Just the other portion.
So how much interest, you would start this conversation by how much interest we had in the other piece, right?
So I've been kind of talking out there to the developers that I know about looking at some potential for single family housing development in there. And by having both sides, that makes that a better possibility than just if we, single family housing development on the part that we own only, it's a little tight. But because they're adjacent, we could incorporate both, and then that would make for, you know, an easier way to.
A neighborhood.
Yeah, I don't have any issue with that. I'm just saying, what is our, we're gonna have to acquire the piece first.
Right.
And if there's enough interest in the piece first, then we say, no, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't do both at that point and just.
I disagree. I think we had the delineation done before you determine whether you're gonna buy it or not, because
Well, I didn't
that's all.
say buy it, interest in acquiring it is the, you know, is everybody here in agreement that we should look to acquire it?
Gotcha.
That, you know, that's different than writing a check, I think. And if there's interest enough, I mean, that's just the beginning of the change as far as I'm concerned.
I think having new housing is a good thing. And then nobody's doing anything, that's everybody can afford to build anything anymore for 2 years. But I think it's worth looking into. I do. Because that's an area where people will build and it's not too far out. You might be able to get people there. And build nice homes, which is what we need.
Is there any way to connect this with what we just did, all those roads and tanks and,
No, we've had that
We
looked
would
at
have
a
to
couple
go
times. You'd have to go off a
strong
strong
road.
road.
yeah, I don't have an issue with it. If we're gonna look at it and we're thinking of acquiring it, we should just go with the second option and be done with it. As long, I mean, as long as the current landowner says it's okay to go do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I agree. I think if you can put some housing parcels in there, private, I think probably private building smaller spots, if you do run into some problems, you'll run into problems that you can put on the in-between.
And the other thing is,
I would
if you find
guess.
out it's full of spring. you can walk away.
Do we have any information on the sale for the cost or what they?
They gave a broker's
Yeah.
opinion, I think, as to what they wanted to ask.
Hmm. Yeah, and they said
Yeah, it was
200,000.
Yeah,
Well, it sure matters if you can build.
Right.
What you do with it.
if it's wet, you can't build on it, it ain't worth it.
Right.
Mhm.
I think we should move forward with the study on both sites.
I agree.
Make more sense to do the study and.
Then
think about the
decide,
land use.
exactly.
I agree with that.
Is that your purview?
It's with him.
Okay.
I'll take a motion to move forward with, going forward.
So moved.
Thank you, Marge. How
That's all
about a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're done. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See how easy?
Nice
Easy,
sales job. Yeah.
easy,
Nice.
easy, easy.
That's the next one that's going to be a little more challenging.
Next year.
The next topic for Jason.
Is, yeah, this one's a good one. Actually, I do like this one, even though I won't have a lot of involvement in the work personally. Other than just corralling my electrical engineers, kind of a little crazy, because he has a lot of passion for this. I've actually had to tell him to slow down. He's already made contact with NICEAG, and it's like they're ready to just talk about these things. So we were talking about the commercial development option there with the package buildings, if you will. And in a meeting with NICEAG, it was just brought up that every single time we talk about one of these projects, or Leanne reaches out to me and asks me about, do we have enough water? Do we have enough sanitary over here to build these things? Electric is always a hot topic at the Lounsbury development area. And, you know, I don't know, it was both of us just kind of said something. It's like every time we try to do something over here, we have the conversation about electric. I can talk to water and sanitary all day long. Electric, I have no idea. NICEAG didn't push back. They want to work with the county on things, but they're still looking for information. So Leanne reached out and said, hey, how do we provide this type of information to them? I sat down and talked with one of our senior electrical engineers. He's done similar work across the country. And I had to kind of corral him in because he's ready to go, like I said. But this is really just an energy study for Lounsbury. There's a lot of things that, from an engineering aspect, that I had to try to reel them in because there's a lot of unknowns out there, right? Leanne does not like any kind of restriction, right? When there's projects that want to come in. So we are trying to figure some of that out, but that's what some of this study would do, is have some of those conversations with the county. What is kind of your plan out there? I know Leanne's, but what else do we want to look at out there? And try to put some things together that then we can coordinate with NICEAG, say, hey, how do we achieve this? They had sent us over a Google map or a GIS map of their existing infrastructure, and it's really, really poor out there. Like, I had to say to my electrical engineer, like, there's something wrong because they weren't even showing some of the service to Best Buy on it.
Well, we had issues when we put in the Crown Court and Seal with electric.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, they had to do some special stuff to get the power that they need.
Yeah. And my electrical engineer totally understood that when he started looking at, just looking at an aerial map, he could see that that's just not really well.
Yes. And we have heard from Crown that they are having interruption in supply issues. And for them, they go down, even if it's for a blip, it's a huge problem. So, you know, what we're thinking is, so we reached out to NICEAG and said, you know what, how much is it going to cost us to get upgrades to the Lounsbury area? And they said, well, we can't really tell you that because we need to know what the demand is. So we said, well, we don't know what the demand is because this hasn't been built yet, but we know that we're going to need it. So that's when, you know, I had a conversation with Jason and try and figure out how we get to that. Until we can, we have somebody in the waiting room. Thank you. It's probably Tom, and he's missed our vote already, so. Ask him to identify.
Hello,
TPR, I'm sure there's some.
is that Tom Rizzuto that just joined us?
Yes,
Thank you. So the IDA board has already agreed to having the wetland delineation done on your property as preliminary review. So therefore, feel free to join us, but we're already past that section.
okay, great,
So
let me know. Yeah,
Tom,
go ahead.
Jason Bellis from Larson Design Group will be reaching out to you about access to the property.
Very good, that sounds great. I look forward to hearing from him and appreciate the consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
So it was kind of a chicken and the egg sort of thing. So we already know anything we respond to, and we respond because, remember, we've got 20 acres on the house property. We've got 11 acres with the Berry and Lockheed property. We've got the 10 acres that we're looking at doing the industrial spec site on. And then we've got Lounsbury, Engelbert, and Boyle with about 90 acres that there's potential there for continued growth. But as it is right now, anything we respond to, once they get to questions about electric capacity, we're booted. So we have to start somewhere. And so with their help, we can now maybe put something together where now we can go to NICEAG and say, okay, here's what we're thinking. Now, how do we do this?
And the goal, the end goal, I guess, would be able to, the idea would be able to understand where NICEAG's coming from and understand the cost associated with getting that infrastructure over there. Not who pays for it, but what do we have to do to get that power?
What's the closest high power voltage amperage? Where's the closest line that runs to it? What's available on it? Because you don't want to do this in Birch. This is a lot of fun in Birch.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you go out and you try the switch and if the lights go out in town, you're sucking too much power. So it is a big problem. But the bigger problem is how close is the nearest high tension wire, or however they call these things? Where's the nearest big zap coming?
Well, I can give you I'll give you my summary from my engineer, because I learned a lot in the hour that he chewed on my ear. There's basically, there's four types of supplies, and it goes from like 134 to 70 something to 30 something, and then down to like 13 something. All right, now I'm not an electrical engineer, all right? I'm just saying that there's four options for high power, okay?
3-phase 480.
Yep. Oh, you can look at it. So basically, when you drive down River Road, I'm gonna try to place myself here, before the old campsite where they had the summer concerts.
KOA.
Yep. There is a station there. Yep, and that goes towards Pennsylvania and then goes over towards Tioga Center. That's the nearest. And the map that they sent, that's also like the lowest one on that 4 criteria.
Right.
Okay. The map that they sent showed everything, and it kind of ended at Owego, the western side of Owego, and that's why we went back to them and said, so there's something wrong with the GIS, because there's obviously more with Crown and Best Buy in the Lounsbury area. There has to be more. And Joe Russin came back and said, nope, that's what our GIS is showing. So it's just it's this spot that,
Dealing with Joe Rustin.
yeah.
I remember that name.
He's been good so far with talking with us. I mean, and sharing information. I did tell Ralph, our electrical engineer, kind of, I don't want to go so far and the idea even interested in something, but to answer your question, there isn't a lot of anything.
So I was told in one conversation around with Joe that the closest that they could draw from to make the upgrades that we're thinking that we're going to need is 75 miles away. That's what Joe told me.
Yeah, and I don't know if I can find the map. He sent this map with all the different colors, right? Like the high voltage one is this, high voltage. Lockheed had something, right? But I don't know if that's Lockheed owned or if that's NICEAG owned, right? And then, Ralph's like, oh, we can draw from that one. Want to go across the Wego and clear the river to Lounsbury. That was the nearest one that I could find.
I have another question for you. So I know Penlock has been acquired by a different company out of Pennsylvania. Is there an opportunity or because of franchises and all that, would there be an opportunity to talk with them as well as NICEAG, or would that be like Mac portion?
Probably that could happen. I think NICEAG's got a lock on that.
I'm not sure. And the only reason I say that is because we did entertain pulling gas from Pennsylvania to Tioga Downs.
Yeah.
Even though NICEAG is, in that area and they supply electric, but we did look at that and it wasn't taboo at that point in time. So, I mean, we can certainly ask. I don't know if that's
When they
true.
talk
Right.
75 miles, when they talk 13 miles or whatever, we're not talking necessarily all new infrastructure. We're talking about putting a line on the pole where everybody's tapping off from. It still has enough at the other end to supply the new transformer.
Yeah.
And, but I do know if it's not there, the prices, go up exponentially, and they're not all that much interested in participating a whole lot in that.
Yeah.
Of course, I wasn't really negotiating from a place of power. I had no power.
Figuratively,
And it's like,
When I think, and again, I wish, if there's something that we want to go forward with, or I can probably get more information if you have, more specifics, because I just can't speak at a high level to electric, but they had talked about a single service to them to make it more dedicated, but still, even when you're just doing a single service dedication to like a Crown, really isn't helping you from future development, right? So you make that large number investment and it's one for them. So,
but there might be some participation from others in the area to know that you're getting more pure power, clean power.
Yeah.
And no interruptions, because interruptions are very important to anybody.
Yep.
I mean, if you're running 3-phase and you drop a leg, there's stuff dropping out, you're replacing motors and.
Yeah.
You know, so I think there's gonna be more participation.
Yeah, that's the one that's the solar companies. Which, and that great segue, because when we were looking at the Google Maps, I didn't realize that there was a huge solar field over behind Crown. That I don't know anything about it.
They use line, put power back to the grid, so that might actually work against you.
Something that when Ralph looked at the map, he's like, oh, that might be beneficial. He's like, I have no idea. So.
In any event, the question is, would this board be interested in further investigation by Larson Design Group to figure out what we would need to do to up our power capacity in Lounsbury?
And so you guys dealing with NICEAG, trying to figure out what has to happen to make that site more usable.
We would work with the county to get some ideas on what we want to see. Right? I kind of know what the problems are, right? But I know what Leanne's question is going to be is what would we expect if we brought in, based on some of the examples that we've received. And then, yes, we would coordinate with NICEAG to say, hey, if we're trying to get this much power there, what would it entail?
I think we need to look at it. I think that we're eventually going to have to.
Yeah. And also, if you're having trouble there right now with power, it's beneficial to look at upgrading that power. Because no matter what you tap into it with down the road, it's going to cause an issue.
Yeah.
If there's already an issue, it sounds like.
There
to me.
is.
Why not look at it now? Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's any reason we shouldn't.
Buy him drive this job. He's been great.
I have some experience negotiating, but probably is not that tactical move you want.
Joe seems to be taking a different role. I think, I don't know how much.
Yeah, no, I'm bummed.
I think I need a motion to move forward with this proposal.
Proposal for.
To spend the
Sorry,
$9,620 to
I'll make that
pursue
a
this study. Thank you, Tracy. How about a second?
A second that.
Thank you.
Is Aaron and Eric, you hear what we're doing here?
We can't hear you. You're muted, Eric.
You look good, but you sound terrible, Eric.
We can't hear you.
You gotta hit the mute button.
Oh, no.
He's unmuted, but we can't
Something's
hear him.
wrong.
All right,
Oh,
go,
dear.
go
Shake
sign
your head,
language.
yes.
Do this.
There,
This
there,
or this.
See, his
Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yay! Okay, here we go. So I have a first and a second. All in favor, please?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
you're not counting his votes.
We're not counting their votes.
They have to
Make sure
physically
I
be here.
I know there are
Supposed
things.
to learn that last time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree.
Aaron, did you want to weigh in on that?
Oh, I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
One last thing while you're here, Jason, can you just give us an idea where we're at with the conceptual and the spec industrial space?
Yes, I will have something for you next month.
Okay, that's fine. We're not in a huge hurry on that. So I talked to the developers today, let them know that it's moving along and we're doing our due diligence, and so we should be fine with that. So we
Do
plan to hear
they-
from them next month.
Do they look for clients themselves?
They do.
Oh, you know.
Has the board seen the initial plan that we laid out?
Did we share the, we did, right?
Okay.
There's 4 buildings,
Yes.
Yes.
phase 1, 2, and
Yep,
3.
yes.
Well, we're coming back with a storybook.
All right.
It's gonna be awesome.
Anything more to add?
Next
Jason?
month.
No,
You're good?
No, we kinda-
Thank
All
you.
right.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Thanks, Jason.
Moving on, I would seek a motion to approve the July minutes, please. Thanks, John. How about a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Moving on to financials. Has anyone had time to review the financials? John, you took a look at them?
We'll talk to Christine a little bit about a couple of things on there. The one thing I didn't ask about was getting paid on more from the railroad. It's a good thing.
We
That is a
are,
good sign.
we
I
are.
heard more train ones.
Lots.
Yeah,
I
no
don't think
kidding.
they man up the trains like they used to, so they use the horn instead.
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
I don't
Yeah.
know.
They're going all the
Nobody getting
time.
off the train at the intersection to
That's right.
stop traffic.
Yeah, so
You can't see a train moving at 3 miles an hour coming toward you, then you're coming, you should not even be driving, really.
Yeah, they have been manning those horns quite a bit, no doubt about that.
So
All right.
did you have the
So,
breakdown? with
I
me?
did. So let me just go ahead and share the revenue report for the railroad. Wait, so- Okay. Eric, Aaron, hopefully you can see this report of revenue. Thank
Yep.
you.
Yep.
So it's just showing between January to May, which is what's been paid to date, it's a 23% increase from last year. So
It is
What is
great.
attributed to, what's the freight? Do we know?
So they do freight as well as storage fees, which OHRA never did.
Storage. Storage, merge or storage.
Storage, I
Right,
don't
So
know.
yeah.
we're talking storage of cars, or what are we talking storage of?
I think it's just cars on tracks, Aaron.
Yeah.
Anything they could do.
Huh,
Well, I did see cars down there on Glenbury.
Oh, a ton of them.
Yeah.
Those tanks, yeah.
That would lead me to believe that whatever those cars are, they're full of something.
We don't want to know why. We don't want to know why.
So. That's that.
Got light the revenue.
Keep looking back.
Any other questions or comments about the financials? No. I'll seek a motion to approve them, please.
I'll make the motion.
Thanks, John. How about a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. All in favor? Opposed? Thanks.
that's acknowledge, not approve, acknowledge.
Acknowledge, absolutely. Sorry, I knew that.
Yep.
Thank God you're here to correct me.
Got that, Megan?
Okay, so
Next on the agenda is Leanne.
Okay, I'll make it brief, just an update what's going on. We have received over 40 responses to our ad placement for the education workforce coordinator position. The steering committee, I think we've narrowed it down to about 8 potential viable candidates that the steering committee will be looking at on August 11th. We'll come back with an update on that. We responded to 5 state leads. We're getting a lot of new things coming in that we're answering to, and most of it we're responding with, yeah. So we've had 5 from the state that Megan has responded to. Teresa's last day as land bank director was July 28th. As it stands now, we will be assuming out of our department land bank director responsibilities. Brittany Whitburn is going to be handling that. So those job description changes have been reviewed and okayed by personnel, and we're now looking at next month. We'll put in a resolution for the hire of a part-time position to account for some of the work that Brittany and Megan were doing that now will be shifted to a part-time person. The housing project on Temple and Liberty Street in the village of Owego, we had the IDA approved pilots. Right now we're moving into the local approval process. A little bit nervous about the village planning board's view of the project. They have concerns with regard to the building within the floodplain, although the developers are addressing that with their design of the building, but ultimately the decision on that will lie with the village planning board. We did produce an informational flyer that really gave a breakdown of the pros and cons of the project. I don't know, did we bring that over or not? Probably not. I can share that with you if you want to see it, but I don't know, I'm nervous about it. Just as an FYI, sales tax in the county for the first 6 months of 2021 was up 27% over 2020 and 17% over 2019. So good news
Yeah,
on
way
sales
around.
tax. No, 17% 2019, 17% 2019, and 27% over 2020.
That was the other way around. But that's right, doesn't matter. It's up.
It's up.
It would make sense if it's that way because
Oh,
2020
no,
was
like
December. Okay.
2020 should have been worse.
So even though 2020 was bad, we're still up over what it was in 2019. Right now, we have identified 10 potential grants that we're actively looking at. We have 17 grants that have been submitted that are pending, that we're waiting to hear on. We have 26 active grants that we are involved in some manner. And since we talked last, one that's been completed, and that was the USDA Ag Value Chain Study has been completed. The only other thing I have is the upstate shredding signage. You know, probably recall I sent out an email saying, you know, upstate shredding would like an improved sign out there legitimately. So I'm working with his sign guy, VNS, White Schweitzer, they're interested in participating in some manner. Looks like the sign that he's looking at is probably in the $30,000 to $32,000 range. So, you know, I checked in with the sign guy today to say, hey, you know, where are we at with this? And he was going to check back with Stephen Donnelly is handling it for Adam. So I don't have anything more than that on this at this point, but I just wanted to give you an update. Upstate and VNS are in. So I don't know if I'll have to ask for money from you guys or not, but that's about where we're at with that.
Thanks, Leanne.
Yeah.
Great update. Christine, what you got going on with Legal Gardens too?
Well, so we have received a change order from Aqua Store. Forgive me while I try to pull this up. Okay, so change order from Aqua Store in 81,325. Just regards the original subcontractor bid amount in accordance with bid documents and addendums was 16,600. The current subcontractor proposal price to provide the items noted in their revised project scope and contract documents is 113,100. The contract will increase by 96.5 plus 48.25 for general contractors markup of 5%, deducting the $20,000 allowance, resulting in total change order amount. So it's unavoidable, just regarded the basically unforeseen requirements from Suez.
Everything people cost us money every time.
I know that.
Well, there's one.
Every meeting, they're
Oh,
costing
thanks.
us.
Can we,
Do you want to go
You want me to talk
through?
about
Yeah.
that?
So you're
Okay, this is the dirt around the pipes. Yep. So the breaking this into three parts. The water line is coming up the hill from OG1. That's in a swale. The water line is going from there around the townhouse loop. And then from there, it goes up and it goes across the back of the apartment complex through the parking lot and then up the hill to the tank. That's the path of the water line. The issues compaction issues that they had initially with the swale area, that's gone away. Everybody's agreed that's not going to be under asphalt. There's going to be settling there. Robinson will come back and address that as we get farther along. That's all good. On the townhouse loop, there was 100, it's still in question how far, but roughly 120-foot section that Robinson put in without inspection. So that area is in question. The top part that goes across the back of the apartment complex, that was all put in without compaction testing and without inspection. So just cut to it, where we're at right now is on Tuesday morning, we're having a third party go up and take proctors or samples of the dirt. And that will be tested and give a visual inspection. They're gonna dig up 4 areas along that line. They're gonna give a visual inspection to see if it looks like Robinson did it properly, because there was no inspection done on that. If it looks like it was done properly, we'll do additional testing to get compaction ratings. If they look at it and they go, yeah, you guys didn't do this right, ultimately, it's gonna have to be dug up. If it's determined it was not done right and it has to be dug up, Robinson is on the hook for that. If they didn't do it right. If it looks like it's okay and you do additional testing and it compacts, we get the 95% compaction rate, then we're done. We've got the proper testing on it and we're good to go. So we don't know what's going to happen at this point. The other part of this that is out there is the level of confidence. You know, if there is a vote of no confidence, say we take and do 4 tests and 3 of them pass and 1 fails, does that mean it fails? And so the level of no confidence from home leasing on it. So ultimately, just to be very frank with you all, I think we're going to be digging up a lot of line. And so the question is going to come down to who pays for it, whether Robinson's on the hook for it, or if we're going to have to put out some more money to have that dug up and done with proper oversight and proper testing.
So if one fails, Robinson's gonna say, well, the other 3 are okay, I'm not gonna pick.
So there will be,
Why was the line buried without an inspection? So
Who's supposed to do the?
So here's the bottom line. They put the line in without an inspection. If an inspection was part of the deal, then Robinson's on the hook for all of it. I don't care who they are. So nobody has to buckle on that one. The deal's a deal. So if it was supposed to be inspected when it went in, I will not vote to put another dime in it. Robinson can tear it up and fix it. That's just the way it is from my perspective.
I agree.
so
There-
to add another layer to that, if you all recall, we see that $70,000 number there to Suez. So we had to pay $73,750 for Suez to do the inspections on the water line, because remember, we couldn't have our guy do it.
So why didn't they do it?
Oh, there you go.
Why
Nobody
didn't they?
knows.
Because wasn't this is what we were talking about last month, and they backfilled.
Yes.
So now they're saying
So-
it wasn't inspected.
But did they ask Suez to inspect it?
Yes, Suez was supposed to be doing the inspections.
That's a lot of money for inspection.
I know. So then it came down to, I tried to get Suez to say, what exactly are you inspecting? Because if we have to hire somebody to make sure that our interests are being protected, what are we hiring them for?
Right.
So what are you doing? And Fagan has looked at the inspection reports from Suez, and they said basically they're of no use. So I don't know.
So there's an inspection report on the pipe.
There's an inspection report on what Suez has been there for. Now, they were not,
When I revise my statement, between Robinson and Suez, they can fix the pipe. Well, I think if you buckle on this, you have no power on the next trip around.
But there has to be some questions asked here. Did Robinson call Suez and say, come do the inspections? And then if they did, what happened? Did they not show up? Did Robinson say, well, they inspected it, so we're gonna bury it? What the hell? Who's talking to who?
so I think what happened is Suez said, yeah, but they didn't there wasn't compaction testing done. So when the state comes and says, okay, show us your compaction on this, it's not there. It was not done. Compaction testing was not done.
This is too hillbilly for me. I'm
But
sorry.
Robinson-
There's a deal here. Somebody's on the hook.
Project manager.
I don't
Yeah,
disagree. I don't disagree with that, but there's gonna be a shit show about this for certain. It's a matter of where do we stand?
Aaron, did you have a comment?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we
Oh,
hear you.
yeah, we can hear Aaron.
Hey, I'm back. I love it. Hey, who's the project manager on this? Who's the CM on this that's supposed to be running the show?
So if you recall, the initial contract with Fagan Engineers, there was a line in there for inspections. When we learned that Suez was requiring that they hire their own independent inspector, we took that line out of our original contract with Fagan because we were going to be paying Suez. As we got into it farther, we said, that's not working. We contracted an additional 20,000 for management and admin contract for 20,000 with Fagan later, because we figured out that we were not getting that from Suez.
So they're your CM.
They are, and at this point, they will be on site for everything that happens going forward. They've already committed to that.
And that's the thing, Joe. There's your CM. I mean, they have a responsibility to make sure these people are talking to each other. I mean, we deal with this stuff here every day.
Yeah.
This shit's coming to us. I mean, that's on that contract.
Yep. So to your point, Eric, going forward, Fagan is committed that they will be there every day for the townhouse loop and whatever it is that happens with the apartment line.
But there's something missing here. The fact that somebody didn't do the first piece.
Yeah, that's
Going forward,
Yeah.
everybody loves to go forward, but the going back part, that shouldn't fall back on us.
Right.
That should fall back on the parties involved. And if Fagan wasn't involved at the time, pick the next two. If Fagan was involved at the time, let those three sort it out. As Eric said, they're the general manager on this, or the project manager on this thing.
Yeah, Fagan should
I
bring.
don't see how we can have these kinds of conversations where we can just throw it back and say, well, somebody didn't do it, so we have to fix it. There's enough grown-ups involved that they can fix this.
I mean, I'm holding.
I'm upset by the conversation. I'm already past it. I'm tired of having these kind of tick-and-tack things happen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of money involved, and the grown-ups are sitting at the table. The
Fagan
grown-ups
should
can
bring
fix it.
these guys to the table.
We sign contracts. It's their job. That's my opinion. Everybody else can share their own. I won't vote to fix this on our dime.
So what, back to the original 81,000, what is that for?
That's the tank work. That's
That's
on the
nothing
tank.
to do with
Nothing
this.
to do with this.
So we haven't gotten any bills or anything regarding this
We
piece
have,
to this date.
we have, for this piece, scroll down.
So what
What
we
we've paid so far, this is what you've paid them, the 86,000 to Robinson and the 262,000 to Robinson has been approved and paid. Scroll
But
back
that's the work they've already done.
That's the work that they have done, and so what's remaining is 350,000 to Robinson for contracts A and B.
So we hold it until it's fixed and done right. That's what you do.
Exactly.
That's what you do every day.
Yeah, hold it until it's
Hold
done.
it until it's done.
Can't pay them anything more until this issue's resolved.
You don't release pay apps until it's done right.
I agree.
On whether
Absolutely. I agree.
I mean, it sucks to be Robinson. They've done all their due diligence and now they're gonna get hosed, but
well, it's not someone's due diligence. If there was supposed to be inspections, Robin should have got handed a piece of paper that said, here's the inspection, I signed off on it, you're good to go.
Right.
I'm sorry, like I said,
Yep.
we're talking two levels of stuff here. You got
You
backyard, you
got your
got the
board standing
grown-ups.
behind you with the generic message.
Yes, very much so.
So what I anticipate right now is that they'll be out there Tuesday morning, they'll do the proctoring, they'll do the visual inspection. From there, we'll know, have a pretty good idea what the path forward is going to have to be.
But if, in the meantime, Robinson's done this before, so they should have done the compacting the way they're supposed to, and there shouldn't be any issue anyway.
Yep.
But Suez didn't do what they were supposed to, which brings us to like, if everything goes smooth with this and everything's okay, somebody still needs to have a conversation with somebody at Suez to get their head together so that they're not doing this to us every single day.
And
that should be, that should,
Friday, I
that
had
should-
a conversation, and I get stonewalled And then I get the tariff thrown in my face, and they get very, Suez is getting very nasty about this.
You
I'm
need
just
somebody to get nasty back. 'Cause we can
Well,
do it. I mean,
Hey, this should be, this should be Fagan's responsibility. This should go on Fagan first. And then Fagan deals with Suez and Robinson. That's the way it's gotta be. Not
You're
Leanne.
absolutely right.
We get $94,000 of stuff.
And Leanne, if we need to have that meeting, with
I'm
them,
sorry, what you say, Eric?
if Leanne needs to with Fagan, because sometimes I'll bring Welliver in, Welliver will sit there, they have trouble dealing with the people that are doing, then the owners come in, and that's fine, and the owner says, listen, I'm not cutting you a pay app, or I'm gonna pull your bond because you didn't do what you were supposed to do, and then
There you
generally.
go.
Pension.
There you go. Yep.
Wish this wasn't recorded. To be very honest with everybody here on all of this, you know where this falls? Fagan. It's
Yep.
not Fagan.
Okay, so how big
I'm
is it?
telling you, it's not Fagan. They've let me down.
You won't be coming. You sure will be.
As much as I like working with Jamie, as much as I like Jamie,
Let's keep in mind, this is recorded
I
meeting.
know,
Good.
but it's.
That
it's
does
the-
not
it's-
bother me.
It's the
one item.
reality, though.
To have the conversation with them. You need help?
That item on
I don't think
contracts,
you're the guy.
I
I know you can.
Get some stuff done, I'm telling you.
that item on contract C, wasn't there something we were waiting on? That wasn't it though? Or something for-
Yes, that was, SCADA was what was outstanding again, and that was on Suez because Suez didn't give us the information that we needed.
Oh, we knew
It's,
something.
this has been very fluid. Who's
Yeah,
doing
we're
what?
still waiting.
Remember, we still have a change order coming to change the developer agreement with Suez. Because not included in all of the original documents, because Suez did not give us the information we needed, was SCADA, miscellaneous electric, and the generator. So those three things are coming. There will be a change, a revision to the developer agreement with Suez. If you recall, we said we could put those all out to bid. There's a whole process if we do that, or we could take it through Suez, change the developer agreement, have them be responsible, pay Suez, and they'll be responsible for those three items. Right now, we're waiting on, it's been a month, and waiting on Fagan to provide the line item information needed to provide the developer agreement.
But
That's
that
coming,
had-
it's
That
coming.
had nothing to do with the 81.
Correct.
Part of that, SCADA was in, we had thought SCADA was gonna be under contract C, but we took it out of contract C. So this is outside of that, those additional things. And we originally thought was gonna be under contract C. And by the way, that number went up significantly from what we had anticipated it would be, change order number one.
And there's subcontractors, Robinson.
What was our contingency?
Our contingency is gone. It's gone. Yep.
I'm not saying this because it's recorded.
Any more discussion on we regard this to?
That's all.
Aaron, do you want to say anything else?
Nope, I'm fine.
I think we have a direction. I think that we have a general understanding.
Okay.
No, it's good enough. We mutter it all.
Let's move on, proceeding to the West Bay Star resolution.
So seeking a motion to approve the final resolution approving West Bay Star LLC pilot agreement.
This is the final resolution. We already have been through this, so there shouldn't be a lot of questions.
Healthcare, John.
Yes.
That's
Just for
correct.
your information, the public hearing was held and there was nobody in attendance. No public comment.
This is the one that's one up at your Google.
Yes,
What do we need to do?
motion.
I'll make a motion.
How about a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
We are tearing it up.
We are tearing it up. Committee reports. Just on a side note, I will be meeting with the governance committee at the end of this month. I'm going to be working on Christine's evaluation. So we'll have a discussion about that with the governance committee. I will bring that information forward to the board, probably at the September meeting. FYI.
You skipped over correspondence.
So,
Didn't I see some correspondence?
Oh, there is correspondence, yes.
so this is in reference to IDA's non-considering, non-consideration of the solar pilot request.
Has everybody read that?
That was
Okay,
an
I'll-
attachment with all
I got
the,
things that were,
Let me pull it up.
just bring it up.
There's not much meat in there.
Yeah.
So you press it.
Who signed the letter?
It's Fred Gage, who is,
is it the Fred Gage from around here?
You got that little bit in the top.
He was
and the
supposed
rest
to
is
come
pressed.
visit you.
Okay.
Oh, he did speak with you.
Yes.
gave me a call, he started asking me questions such as, do your board members know that citizens save on electricity? Do they know that farmers benefit, etc.?
Okay.
All right, the magic sheet that goes with that letter, like you sent for the housing project, you know, the magic sheet that shows all the tax credits and whatnot.
The expense budget?
Yeah, next time somebody files for one of these, I want to see the magic sheet that comes with it. Everything behind the curtain. That's what we want to see.
All right, I think we all know what this letter says.
Yeah,
and
I just-
we've all reviewed it and read it, so.
We appreciate
missed
that.
Thank
you very
you.
much. Have a nice day.
Thanks for the letter. Yes.
I'll be sending out all the policies to the appropriate committees for policy review prior to the upcoming annual meeting in January. And
It's that time of year. Yeah. Start thinking about this stuff. It is. Absolutely.
That's for sure.
And seeking permission from the board to register for the IEDC annual conference virtual attendance for $599.
Virtual attendance for $595.
That's right.
This is your third one, right? I think it is.
Nope. So I've never been to the annual conference. Last year, COVID was just starting and
Yeah.
so,
$500 to log on. That's just ridiculous. Okay. I'll send it.
It's a good session.
And
She learns a lot from it.
I'm okay.
I'm okay with it too.
We need a motion for that.
She can work for James.
We don't. I don't think we do.
Yeah, you do.
thank you.
What's that?
You need a motion to allow her
That's what I
to
thought.
register.
All
We're
right.
spending money. We need to.
Seeking a motion to send Christine to the annual conference, please,
Well, to register for.
to register for.
So
So that she
moved.
can attend virtually. Yes.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Kevin. How about a second?
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Thanks so much.
You better come back really smart.
Well,
Every
There's
year,
no
every
worries.
year she comes back smarter.
Teaching thing.
love you guys. Okay, moving on, sales tax update. We have home leasing still submitting monthly reports and well within their authorized amount. Robinson was issued a ST60 and is reported as well, well within their authorized amount. We received an unexpected state share towards our FEMA grant for the Monkey Run work, which we weren't aware was coming. So that covered half of the IDA's contribution. So our match is now decreased. And we awarded JB's excavation that job due to all of your email votes. Thank you so much.
Should we do do we need to do an affirmation of the email vote since it's awarding a contract?
We should.
Yes, absolutely. Sure.
Good thing you tuned in finally.
Yeah. For me.
So seeking a motion to approve the email approval awarding JB's excavation. please.
I make that motion.
Thank you. How about a second?
Second.
Thanks, Marty. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I have to abstain on that.
Thank you.
And we're hoping to submit a application for the Richford Railroad fix.
Let's go back to your conference. Is there a dollar amount
Yep.
that we have to, from procurement policy or,
For,
no?
for this, we don't need to file a procurement bill because there's no competitors, right? It's
I thought it was like if you spend,
over 1,000, so either way, we're safe.
okay, so we really did need a motion.
But
Well, we
Okay.
should have a motion.
Anytime you're spending money, you better have a motion, so you go back and say you're off.
Well, that's true, but our policy says less than 1,000, but okay. I just
What is
wondered.
it?
That's,
No, that was two different items.
For the IEDC conference.
For the
I think
conference.
it's, I
We're back
think
on that. Sorry.
I know, I just had a question, sorry. Didn't mean to derail you. I just had a question about that. All right,
it's, okay,
moving on.
that's on the regular agenda. The executive only includes the,
Does anyone have a reason to move to executive session? No? Okay, we'll pass on it this evening then. Any other discussion? No? Okay, how about a motion to adjourn then?
Make the motion.
Thanks, Sean. And thank you all for coming this evening.
Oh.
Look at that.
are you?
Are you not recording?
What?
We're adjourned.
Okay.
Bye, Eric. Bye, Aaron.
Thank you.
you.
Thanks
Bye,
for
guys.
joining. Bye.
Yeah, this is our third extension.